for this morning. Well, God morning, Ahiah. God morning. Welcome to live service and live streaming from the Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Michael Bernard Lattimore, your guide on the side, assistant minister here, and so honored and grateful to be in partnership with our senior minister, Reverend Scott Olson, who's holding us down. And we are just counting the days for his ordination on September 24th. So if you haven't written that date on your calendar, write it down, because we're going to have a party like it's 1999. Indeed. Welcome to God's party. Yes, indeed. This is where we celebrate the absolute truth that God is right where we are and that God is the only thing happening, no matter what it looks like. We have come together to celebrate that and to remind each other of the magnificence of that remembrance. And we've got Chris Glick over here tickling the keyboards. He's our musical director. Let's give Chris some love. Chris grounded us in a loving meditation this morning. Spoiler alert, there's meditation here every Sunday. Just pop in at 10:30, and it's a wonderful way to ground yourself. So I'm still just in that space. A moment ago, I saw Dorothy still in that space of peace, because it was so grounding. And there's something about amplification of that energy that happens when we do that together. You know, it's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So thank you, Chris. And of course, our Sunday band, we got Brian Menifee here doing the percussions and the rhythm, holding up the beat. Thank you, Brian, for all you do. And Leon Johnson on the bass. Yes. Thank you, Leon. Yes, indeed. And today we've got a special musical inspiration who I always love. He's so creative and just always brings a special loving surprise with him. It's Butch Dubari in the house. Let's give Butch love. Welcome home, Butch. Looking forward to your presence, your musical presence, sir. And of course, hiding behind the curtain, we've got Sebastian in the sound room. Without Sebastian, there would be no sound, so he is vital. And at the back of the room, we have our beloved Harris. He's our Wizard of Oz, technical director. He slices and dices, does everything else in between. Yes, and of course, we want to acknowledge our volunteers who give of themselves. We've got Sandra in the back as an usher and a greeter, and I think Dorothy's an usher and a greeter too. She's right there, so we want to acknowledge them. And yes, thank you for your sacred service, and Brother Troy for holding up the security, the parking lot, and everything in between, bringing breakfast on Sunday mornings. Thank you, Brother Troy. We appreciate you as well. Yes, and indeed, all of you, we thank all of you for your presence. You know, our theme this month is choosing freedom together. And today the wisdom talk will be God and I are a majority. God and I are a majority. That's so nice. We got to say it twice. Yes? So I think we are ready for God's party, yes? Yes, let's make this happen. And we want to acknowledge Gabriel, give our thanks, gratitude to him for putting together this beautiful inspirational video. So let's tune into that and and acknowledge Jackie O as our practitioner of the day through our reading and invocation. Thank you, Jackie. See, I didn't forget you. So let's tune in, family. Namaste.
Blowing in your face, and the whole world is on your case. I could offer you a warm embrace to you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there is no one there to dry your tears, I will hold you for 1,000,000 years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. There's no doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, and I'd go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Somebody, would you know? The storms are raging on the rolling seas, and on that highway of regret, the winds of change are blowing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of this earth for you, to make you feel, oh, na, 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 to make you feel my love.
Good morning, everyone. So lovely to be here with you today. I'd like to go ahead and ask Jackie to come on up. She's going to do our invocation and our reading. And while she's getting ready for that, I'm going to go ahead and light our peace candle, just knowing that every instance of us knowing peace more fully in the world is a wonderful thing. And I see somebody I haven't seen in a couple of years, so I'm going to have to say hi to you in just a minute, Helen. So let's go ahead and light our peace candle. There we go. And I know that Jackie will keep peace in her prayer.
Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Owens, and I'm very privileged and blessed to be a practitioner here at Ahiah. And with the topic being choosing freedom together, and today's talk that God and I are majority, I think the reading I'm about to give you is very appropriate, and it is entitled, I Am Secure in the Everlasting Arms of God. The eternal God is thy refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. Deuteronomy 33rd chapter, 27th verse. The everlasting arms suggests divine protection, complete certainty, and the assurance that all is well with the soul. And how could it be otherwise? since the spirit of humankind is God. Therefore, when we say that we are secure in the everlasting arms of God, we are realizing that our spirit, being one with God and never separated from its source, must be and is as secure as God. It is this inward sense of our union with the whole that binds us back to the eternal presence and gives us the joy of knowing that there is nothing to be afraid of, either out of the past, from the present, or in the future. I am secure in the everlasting arms of God. I feel the divine presence in, around, and through me and all people. A great sense of calm and peace flows through my being, in confidence and in light. Realizing there is no separation between the spirit within me and the spirit that God is, knowing that there is but one spirit, which is God in me and God in everything. I feel confidence and safety and security in that presence that evermore wraps itself around me and flows through me. I am indeed secure today in the everlasting arms of good, of peace, of joy, and of life. I am secure in the consciousness that today and every day I shall be guided, guarded, and protected. And I am secure in the consciousness that all people are protected by the same divine presence, governed by the same law of good, and guided by the same infinite love. I am one with all, both visible and invisible, one with the seen and the unseen, one with God and one with humankind. I bless this unity. This reading is from 365 Science of Mind, a year of daily wisdom from Ernest Holmes. Now, if you'll join me in prayer, taking a deep centering breath, and knowing that I and the Father are one, that where two or more are gathered in his name, there he will be, and knowing that where he is, love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness is there. We have but to sit and recognize and open our hearts to be a part of what the Father is, for we cannot be separated from it. We are what he is. What God is, we are. What we are, God is. There is no other. And everything around us is God. Despite appearances, and we judge not by what we see, but by knowing that God is right here with us right now. And I claim this peace, this joy, this love for each and every one of us. And I give grateful thanks to all those who came today to hear the words and the guidance given to us by Reverend Scott and Reverend Mike, because they are our teachers sent by Spirit to help us along the way. I give grateful thanks to the musicians who are here to bring their ministry of sound and happiness, that we may all clap our hands and know that Spirit has its own music, and it makes music in so many different ways. We are so blessed, and I am grateful, so grateful to be here, knowing that life is as good and very good as it can be, and even better when we open up and let Spirit guide us. And so I release this prayer to the law, knowing that Spirit has already said, yes, welcome in, my child. Welcome to the peace. Welcome to the joy. Welcome to the love. And so I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. Namaste.
Thank you, Jackie. And so I'd like to go ahead and ask Butch to come on up. And while he's doing that, why don't you guys give each other a nice warm Ahiah welcome. You don't need to do it by touching anybody if they don't want, but you can always wave hi, say hello to your neighbor. It's so good to see each and every one of you guys. Come on up, Butch. And Butch is going to give us a song.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Butch Dubari. This young man over here and I are partners. We're going to do a song about belief. Tired of all the lying and deceiving, giving all the time and not receiving, loving someone who don't love back, asking for a broken heart attack. I just wanna love somebody who loves me. Cansado de todas las mentiras y desengaños, dando el tiempo quemó sin recibir, amando a alguien que no me ama, expidiendo un corazón quebrado, dando todo amar y ser amado. I just wanna love somebody who loves me. My heart is looking for an equal opportunity to love and be loved in return, to trust somebody and not get burned. I just wanna love somebody who loves me. It's been hard for me to keep on trying. These two eyes have seen their share of lying. I stay on the verge of giving up. My heart says enough's enough. I just wanna love somebody who loves me. I just wanna love somebody who loves me. My heart is looking for an equal opportunity love and be loved in return, to trust somebody and not get burned. I just wanna love somebody who loves me. Because I'm more than ready and willing to share if I can just find someone who truly cares. Just to love and be loved in return, just so I can trust somebody and not get burned. I just wanna love somebody who loves me. I just wanna love somebody who loves me. Who loves me. Somebody who loves me.
Thank you, Butch. That was wonderful. So I'm going to go to the center here. So I just want to point out the new arrangement from Gabriel. You know, the amazing thing is I watched him make this. I mean, the leaves, the flowers, and everything, they're all his creation. I don't know. I couldn't get from the thought to that myself. So anyway, amazing, Gabriel. Thank you. So July's theme that we've been working on, we're on the 4th Sunday now, so we've been working on it for a little while, is choosing freedom together. And so we've been working with this basic idea, this definition of freedom that says the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Right? That's what we've been thinking about as far as what does freedom mean. And so I've stressed the fact that I can't be free if I'm not allowing other people to be free. So if I'm hindering or restraining other people, then my freedom is diminished. And we've been talking about how to make sure we don't do that. How do we allow other people to be free, and really thinking about how do I impact other people's lives around me. And I really think this is a very fundamental concept. In fact, in foundations class, so we've been teaching a foundations class this summer, and one of the things that we do in foundations class is we talk about all the basic ideas that are involved in this philosophy. And one of the very basic ideas is that there's a reciprocity between us and the universe, a reciprocal nature of the universe, which just means that the universe responds to us as we respond to it. As we think the universe is, however that is, if we think it's a good place, then a good place is reflected back. If we think that it's a jungle out there and it's a rat race and all those types of concepts, then that gets reflected back to us. And this idea of a reciprocal nature is, it's, you know, in some ways it's kind of mathematical because spirit's just saying yes. You know, in math, you know, I'm a physicist, you guys, so I just have to talk about math every once in a while. But in math, they call it a reciprocal if the inverse, the two numbers multiply to 1. So the reciprocal of 2 is 1/2, right? And it's always that nature. So if you change your number from 2 to 3, then the reciprocal changes 2 to 1/3. And it's exactly the way spirit works. If we're a 2, it responds as 1/2. If we're a 3, it responds as 1/3. If I feel like the universe is, you know, is against me, then it shows me the evidence that supports that. If I think that the world is meant to make me free, then it's going to show me the way to be more free. And so that's what I want to know. That's what I want to look at. So one of the things about the reciprocal nature of God is that we get a lot of laws about it. I don't usually talk too much about the laws and everything because it really takes a bit of talking to do that and have a conversation. But we do talk about the law of circulation, the law of attention, the law of mental equivalent. You know, these are all these words, right? But I do want to talk about the law of attention for a second, or the law of attraction, I mean. The law of attraction, basically, we will attract the people, places, and conditions to maintain our current understanding, our current consciousness, right? That's a pretty powerful statement, isn't it? That I'm going to attract to me just to keep what I already believe true. You know, where isn't the universe kind of pushing us forward? Isn't the universe trying to lift us up? Or is it just trying to keep us status quo where we are? Well, the reality is that the universe does respond to us in the material world around us as we believe. But then we get our intuition to help guide us, to help us move along a little bit. And our part in life then is to listen to that intuition, to listen to that guidance, to know that Spirit is for us, and therefore to gain freedom together, to choose it together. Now, I want to go just a little bit farther, which is to say that not only am I responsible for myself, but in some ways I'm responsible for the world. And by that I mean this quote from Audre Lorde. She's a great writer. You should try her out. She says, "I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own." And that's true not just of women, but of anybody. I am not free if anybody is shackled, right? Even if it doesn't look like my situation, it's true for everyone. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about how to unshackle ourselves, how to move more into freedom, how to know that life that is the divine is our life, how to expand our consciousness. And we're going to start by asking Reverend Mike to come on up and give us a few words about choosing freedom together.
Thank you, Rev. Good morning, family. You know, there are no coincidences. What looks like a coincidence is actually the presence of God coinciding in the incident. Some years ago, I used to like to go to the Conscious Life Expo, you know, that they had over at the LAX. I don't know if you've ever attended that, but I would go there and because I've always been a seeker. And I just wanted to know more about the ways in which we as human beings seek the presence of God. And on this particular occasion, I ran into a colleague of mine, Peggy O'Neill, who was a fellow member of the National Speakers Association. And it turns out that Peggy was a Sufi. Sufis are mystical lovers of God. It's ancient spiritual practice. And I was just so surprised to see her. I said, "Oh, wow." She says, "Would you like a healing?" Because in the large room, my colleague is in there and they're giving healings. And you know, whenever anybody asks me, do I need a healing or do I want a healing, my answer is always yes. You can never get too much healing. You either are in need of a healing now, or you're going to be in need of a healing in a moment, right? Or, you know, so I said yes. And I went into a session with a Sufi who simply turned within to his own heart and asked Allah for permission to bring me the deep love. And this person just gently turned within, and under their breath, they simply said, Allah, Allah, Allah. And in the repetition of those words in that moment, something amazing began to happen inside of me. My heart began to open, and the deep love of God poured forth through this person into me. There's only one of us here. One love, one life, one light. You know, that story really means a lot to me today, because today is the third day marking the transition of my dear God brother, who for the past 60 years has been my big brother, and I've been his little brother. And on Friday, he gave himself permission to release the breath and to let go. And that has been such a powerful teaching for me. Today is also probably the 40th anniversary of the transition of my uncle who raised me. He was my psychological father. He passed in California on the 24th at 4:24 p.m. at White Memorial Hospital in Los Angeles. Same day, so no coincidence. And he was also a purveyor of love, just like this Sufi healer. He opened his heart to me and taught me that I am love. That no matter what it looks like, that I am love, that love is. And you know what this brings forward for me is that at a certain point in time, we had a weak signal strength in the Wi-Fi here. There were places where you could go and you couldn't get Wi-Fi. And you know, sometimes life is like that, where you feel like you're in a place where you just can't get love. You can't get enough love, no? And so what we did to solve that problem is that we went out and we got repeaters. We got repeaters. And now we got repeaters everywhere. And you know, love is like that too. Love has repeaters everywhere. Each one of you is a repeater of that love. And the moment that you can say to yourself that I am that love, and when that truth is known anywhere, it's known everywhere for all time. So even though Fred and my uncle are on the other side of life, the love that they are is right here in me. It's in you. We are the repeaters for the world. And the message today is that God and us are a majority. That we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the love that we've been seeking. When Butch sang that song that I'm just looking for that unconditional love, that's the response from the Almighty, saying, my beloved, you are my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. And that love is palpable. And so the invitation that I would have for you today is the law of attention. Turn your attention to that love and how you can give it, how you could share it, how you could be it in honor of the ancestor who may have taught you that love, that one who may have rubbed your head and told you, you're going to be somebody someday. You hear me? You're going to be somebody. That love. Pass that on, because the world needs it. Namaste, family.
Thank you, Rev. Oh, yeah, I get to keep that one. Oh, so absolutely. I like that. We love repeaters, don't you think? I think that goes over real well in my mind. So, as Reverend Mike has said, today's talk title is God and I are a majority. And, you know, that got me thinking more about freedom and how freedom works in a democracy, for instance. And so I was thinking, well, how does democracy help me in my freedom? You know, how does that show up? And, well, for sure it's better than a dictatorship, isn't it? You know, it's more freeing than being in a dictatorship. But there are things that we need to understand about a democracy and what a majority means and what the power of a majority means to us. Because remember, there's only power in what we think about something. And so I started thinking, because I remember reading this book back when I was in college, and oops, out of order there. And it's a book by Alexis de Tocqueville, and it was published back in 1835. It's called Democracy in America. And the thing that I remember from that book that struck me so much was that here is this French guy. He's from France, and yet he wrote the definitive book all the way back in 1835 about how democracy in our country looks. And he came here from France to study democracy because, back in that time frame, Europe was having a heck of a problem with trying to figure out how to run democracy in their part of the world. We all know about the bloody French Revolution, all that type of stuff. So, he was out here studying that and trying to understand us. And the thing that I read from him that so stuck in me, because it's been 35 more years since I read that book originally, was this idea of the tyranny of the majority. The tyranny of the majority. And that's what kind of resonated with me when I was thinking about God and I are a majority, is how do you have God and I a majority, and yet you can have this tyranny of the majority? And this idea of the tyranny of the majority is that, you get into groups with large groups of people, a government like the United States, or even in other groups, and the majority rules. It's kind of how we have it set up. The majority rules. Now, the good news is in America, we have the Bill of Rights. So we have rights also that have been ascribed to us: freedom of the press, freedom of religion, all these rights. But they are, of course, subject to the interpretation of the courts. And the courts kind of move back and forth on what it means for these different rights, as we've seen over many, many years, and also pretty recently. And so the idea here is that, well, if there's this problem with tyranny of the majority, how do we deal with it? What's our place as an individual then? That's kind of the government, and I just bring that out for us to think about. But really, everything's personal, isn't it? Everything's about me. How does it work inside of me? And so if it's possible to be tyrannized by the majority, how does that look? Well, we've got these scales in our mind, don't we? And we have this idea. Let's say I decide I want to do something, but I have friends and family around me, and they're going to, possibly some of them will come on our side, some of them might go on the other side. And eventually, if enough of them are opposed to us, the scale just kind of tips, right? From the idea that we had to usually not another idea, usually it's just a negative, right? Don't do that. That's a bad idea. And so we tend to kind of live our life sometimes where we have ideas of what we want to do, and the tyranny of the majority keeps us from doing it, keeps us from fulfilling it. But what do we need to know? How do we move in our lives and really know our own freedom more personally? Well, there's another guy that wrote a long time ago. His name is Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he says, trust thyself. Trust thyself. Now, when I say trust thyself, because I absolutely do believe in that, he says, trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Every heart. And so I think that trusting ourselves is absolutely where we should come from when we're coming from the heart that is vibrating to that iron string, the love that God is. When we're coming from that place of I know what I should be doing because, not because my head tells me that this is what I should do next, this is how I should be in the world, but because my heart tells me this is what I need to do today, tomorrow, forever. This is who I need to be. I need to listen to my heart. And the thing about, Spirit's infinite in nature, isn't it? So when we get these scales, and we got me here, and then a few people over here, the scales are tipping this way. Well, as soon as I put Spirit on my side, that infinite nature, I don't care how many people are on the other side. If I have Spirit on my side, Spirit and I are a majority. I need to trust that. I need to know that in my bones. I need to rely on it. I need to move through my life recognizing that Spirit is always guiding me. Yesterday I went to a baptism, and it was a great ceremony, although I don't speak enough English to have understood most of what was going on. Spanish. I don't understand enough Spanish to know exactly what all was going on. I catch a word here and there. But it was beautiful because the people in the audience were so receptive to the message. And so I enjoyed being there. And the reason I was there was because Gabriel's cousins have adopted some children. And they've adopted 3 kids so far. And the boy first, and then they went back and adopted 2 girls. And it was these 2 girls who were getting baptized in the Catholic Church. And the thing that reminded me of yesterday as we were going through that was not just their journey, but my journey. The journey of Gabriel and I adopting 3 children. They've adopted 3 children. And they went to adopt their kids after we adopted our 3rd child, John. And, and we encouraged them to do what we did, to do what they call foster adopt, which is to foster children with the intention of adopting them. And so they did that, but the first time they did it, the children came, and then they were put back with their birth family. And maybe that was a great thing for the kids. I hope so. I really do. But I know that it's hard. I personally can't imagine. Gabriel and I were fortunate enough to foster 3 children and adopt 3 children. We never had any kids that went back. And so, as I was thinking about that, I was thinking, how hard was it for them the first time? After those first 2 children went back to their birth family, how hard was it for them to decide to do it again? And I know that there were people around them that were just saying, you can't do that again. How could you put yourself out there like that again? But what I know for them is that their desire and their belief that Spirit was behind them, that Spirit was guiding them, that Spirit would make a path that was right for them and right for the kids that they were adopting. And so the good news is they were able to. And so, as you look back from this place of the adoptions are complete, the baptisms are all complete, the children are yours and you're a happy family now. When you look back from that place, it's like, well, of course. But if you look back from that place of, after the first children, you're like, can this ever happen? And what we have to have is we have to have faith. We have to have faith in the process. When we feel that push from Spirit moving us along in a particular path, our response is to say yes to it, to take the next step and the next step, even though sometimes it doesn't feel very good. But we get to do it in faith, knowing that the end result will be perfect. I was thinking, how do I remember that? Right? When I'm down in the dirt and everything, how do I remember that Spirit is helping, that Spirit's moving us along, that God and I are the majority? How can I remember that the scales are always tipped in my favor? Well, I think when we get caught up in our ego self, it can be difficult. And so we need to get out away from that, and we need to get in contact with Spirit. There's a quote from Anne Frank that says, "The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside, somewhere where they can be quite alone with the heavens, nature, and God." I think this is a lovely quote, but the reason that it really pulled at me is I know the story of Anne Frank. I've read that book. And she was writing in her diary while she was living in Amsterdam, occupied by Nazi Germany. So she was, basically ensconced in this room, these set of rooms that were hidden in a factory. And so she wasn't outside when she wrote this. She wasn't in nature. She wasn't really seeing that aspect. And yet she wrote in her diary she would have been 13, 14, somewhere in there at this time. She wrote in her diary that this is the way to know it. This is the way to see yourself when you're afraid and lonely and unhappy, to feel that support. And I think it's because she just remembered. She remembered what this looked like. And so we always have that possibility. We've all been to a place that's beautiful, right? For me, the beach is a place of beauty for me. The redwoods are a place of beauty up in Northern California. I can just think back to walking through the woods there, and it just takes me to that place inside where I know that I'm, don't need to be afraid, that I'm not lonely, that I have a right to be happy. And so we can also remember this connection to Spirit because, we're all made of stardust. Did you know that? Neil deGrasse Tyson says, "We are part of this universe. We are in this universe. But perhaps more important than both of these facts is that the universe is in us." When the Big Bang happened and this universe came into being in the way that we know it right now, there's only hydrogen and helium around, really. Lots and lots and lots of it. But over time, in all these suns, when the hydrogen comes in, it gets compressed, enough, and it gets hot enough, it starts to fuse, and then it starts to create even more energy, more heat. And that's what creates a sun, is that fusion process where the hydrogens come together and make a helium, and extra energy is released. I'm really physicking now today, aren't I? But over time, the hydrogen is used up, and so the sun just keeps fusing things together. So it fuses together helium, and then it keeps going. About the time it gets to iron, though, it putters out, because iron, when it fuses together into something else, it doesn't give you any energy. And so when that happens, the gravitational power of all of this mass comes together, and the sun just kind of implodes and then explodes. And at that point, we call it a supernova. And the shock wave that goes through that supernova is what creates the elements that are heavier than iron. And so really, in this process of a sun, being a sun, and eventually becoming this supernova, all the different elements that we rely on to make us gets made. And so we are truly, truly, truly stardust. We are the remains of stars that have exploded out into the universe. And so when we think about that, when I think about the sun, I just think, wow. Yeah. I really do. It's so much more immense than this planet. The energy coming out of that sun is immense. And so it connects me to this idea of the universe, the infinite nature of God. And if I can get there, then I can get to that place of knowing that Spirit and I, God and I, are a majority. So we get to remember our power. Not the power of our ego, but the power of our creative selves, our soul power, our power as divine, individualized expressions of the divine. And so if I have all that power, then, the majority, we shouldn't let that majority of people, of egos, scare us, because we're beyond that. So what we want to do is take our authority from Spirit. Take our authority to allow us to follow a path that will create good, that will create freedom, that will create an impact for good in not just our lives, but in all the lives around us. And so I want to leave you with an affirmation today. It's showing on our screen, so let's say it together. I inspire impactful change in this life. Let's say that again. I inspire impactful change in this life by knowing that God and I are majority. And so as you go out into your week, what I'd like you to think about then is take a stand for freedom. Take a stand to know freedom more fully in your lives and for everybody's life, right? Because we're all free, because we're all the divine in our own way. And then don't allow the tyranny of the majority to keep you from doing the things that your heart tells you to do. In other words, trust thyself, as Emerson tells us. And, just know that God and I are the majority. As I walk through my day and I know that truth, everything just opens up for me. And then, if you forget it, help yourself remember it by knowing that you are stardust, by knowing that you are the life that is everywhere in this entire universe. It's all one life. And, as always, if you're not quite sure what to do, just let Spirit guide you. Thank you. Namaste. So we're going to just anchor these ideas in with a little bit of prayer. If you'll join me in that prayer, as I know this life, this power, this presence, that Spirit is the divine. I know it to be the love and the peace and the joy and the absolute freedom that is everywhere present, that is the basis for all of this universe. It is what all was created out of and through and as. And as I know that to be the truth of Spirit, I know it to be the truth of myself. I know it to be the truth of each and every one of us, that we are that life that God is, and that as we move forward with the divine intelligence, the divine wisdom, the divine clarity to know what the next step is for us. To know from that place of our hearts that we are divinely led and guided in this world. To know that everything that is back behind this universe is moving us forward with ease and with grace. And so it's from that place of knowingness that I speak my word as the truth of each and every one of us. Knowing that as that guiding principle that Spirit is, tells us what to do, tells us what the next step is for our own expansion, the expansion of our consciousness to know freedom more fully, to know love more fully, to know peace more fully, and not just for ourselves, but for the entire world, for the entire universe, that this life is always guiding us that way. And all I need to do is say yes, knowing that Spirit has already said yes, that yes that God is constant, that it never changes, there's never any judgment, there's never any obstacles. It's just yes. Yes, my darling. Yes, you are the love. You are the peace. You are the freedom that is everything. And for knowing that truth, I just give thanks. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. So now is the time for our conscious contributions. And I know that many of you, especially online, have already given through our online ways of doing that. But if you haven't, we have 3 ways for you to do it. You can go to ahiah.com/donate, or you can text to give by texting the word give to 616-229-2225, or you can send a check in and just write a little note to me when you do that. I get such a kick out of them. And then for those of you who are here today, you can put any offering that you're going to do in a envelope. And we've got Sandra and Dorothy here that are passing the basket around. But however you do that, I'd like you to take that virtual gift and bring it to your heart with me as we say the blessing that is on the screen. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving, as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And so now I'd like to ask, I don't know where Butch is. Well, we'll just ask Butch to come on up and sing us another song.
I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to make some subtle changes in this song, as you will see, because I really liked what you and Reverend Mike said. I like that statement, God and I are the majority. Guess you could say you're in my blood, even in the air I breathe. I've never been much of a believer before, but this time I do believe. Other
Other love has come and gone, but they all went wrong till you walked into my heart. You were the first to say I'm in all the way, and that's why we'll never part. You're inside of me, deep inside of me. I know it may not show, but you're the very heart of my soul. You're inside of me, so inside of me. I know it's hard to believe what you cannot see, but you're inside of me. Always there in every step I take, helping me be all I can. You're my life's one lucky break. Thanks to you, I'm a better man. 'Cause you're inside of me, so inside of me. I know it may not show, but you're the very heart of my soul. You're inside of me, deep inside of me. I know it's hard to believe what you cannot see, but you're inside of me. And when the world outside comes crashing in, bringing trouble of all kinds, knowing you're inside of me helps me hold on to peace of mind. You're inside of me, so inside of me. I know it's hard to believe what you cannot see, but you're inside of me. I want you to vamp on that. I'm going to ask for your help. I was very impressed by what the Reverends had to say this morning. They touched me. I believe they touched all of us. So I'm going to ask for your help. Here's the line. I know it's hard to believe what you cannot see, but God and I are the majority. I know it's hard to believe what you cannot see, but God and I are the majority. That's your line. God and I are the majority. I know it's hard to believe what you cannot see. Say it. God and I are the majority. Say it again. God and I are the majority. Come on. God and I are the majority. Oh, say it like you mean it. God and I are the majority. That'll give you freedom. God and I are the majority. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Butch. Thank you. So, we have our youth. Come on down. I gotta get a microphone. Oh, it's Talia and Sterling.
Good morning. So our discussion this morning was how we are better together. But in order to know that, we have to know how wonderful we are uniquely, our own unique expressions. And we did that by making chains, and we answered specific questions and put those on the chains. And so we're going to read a couple of them to you. This one is Sterling's. May I read yours? You can probably understand the question from what I say. So curly blonde hair is a favorite physical attribute. I'm smart. Favorite food is cheesy scrambled eggs. I'm happy. I'm not too much of a fan of snakes, spiders, or the dark. I like to break my sister's fingers in the morning. And video games. Here you go, Sterling. Alex, would you read yours?
Mine are running, choir, tacos. Not a big fan of skeletons. I'm smart, love animals, grumpy, short temper, friendly, and tall.
Thank you, Alex. May I read yours, Talia? Okay. So Talia is trustful and loves snakes. Love that. We love that. Being all alone and forgotten, not a fan of that. Annoyed and crabby sometimes. Quirky, funny. She's short and makes funny faces. Loves ramen and sushi, yum. And reading and art is something she loves about her abilities. Do you want to read yours? Okay. So after we did that and we just celebrated each other, we realized that we're even better and more powerful when we're together. And so we have this one chain, and then Malachi is going to help us put our chains together so we can really see what oneness is and being connected is. And a little quote I heard once from Reverend Sunshine Day: I am uniquely me, and we need variety to be we. And there we are. Thank you. Good
Hey.
job, you guys.
All right, Rev, the next time you're up here, I'm going to be with them. I have a couple of other quick announcements. Thank you, Malachi. Movie night is this coming Friday night, and we're continuing on with the series from Deepak Chopra on well-being and layers of awareness. And then I want to remind you, for our white folk, we have for our black folk, we have the Ubuntu circles. For our white folk, we have White Resiliency, which is a class, a workshop that we come together every couple of months to come together to know how to move forward in this world, to allow freedom for everyone, really is what we're working on. And then Reverend Mike mentioned my ordination. Somebody came up to me the other day and they said, Reverend Scott, I thought you were already a minister. And I said, yes, that's true. In Centers for Spiritual Living, they have a process where you become a minister, and then after a while, you get ordained. And it's kind of like getting finally married to Centers for Spiritual Living. So we're having a big ceremony here. We'll have some food afterwards. And just put the date on your calendar, September 24th at 1 p.m. That's a Saturday, so I would love to have you here. And then we've had a lot of people buying Hollywood Bowl tickets lately. I don't know exactly where we're at now, but I'm sure we had 15 at least left when I looked the other day. Barbara, do you know what the latest number is? We got a dozen left. And so, you know, it's a great time. The ticket price, which is $48, includes the trip out to the Hollywood Bowl together on a bus and everything. So transportation type of van or something like that. So anyway, come have some fun at the Hollywood Bowl. And then we also have a ball game with the Dodgers going on September 7th. And I just want to remind everybody about pastoral care, that there's many ways of doing pastoral care here. We also have the book study on Tuesday. They're studying The Perfect Power Within You. And if you want prayer, we have lots of practitioners here. And you can get to know them by going here, ahiah.com/meetourpractitioners. There is contact information. They would love to chat with you. And if you want prayer itself, there's an easy way of doing that. You can ask for it here. We have practitioners. Can our practitioners who are willing to do prayer after service stand for me, please? So we have Jackie, and we have Frederick, and Marcia, and Reverend Mike, and Chris, and myself are all happy to do prayer with you. Yeah, we'll pray up everybody. Absolutely. And so, but if you're not here, maybe you're online, you want prayer, you can go to ahiah.com/prayers. And just so everybody knows, only practitioners and ministers see what you put on the prayer requests. And then there's a dial a prayer also, which you can go to our website and hear a reading and a prayer, and it gets changed every week. So it's a great pick-me-up. And so that's all the announcements. So I'm just going to finish this out with a benediction. It's showing up on the screen with you right here. Let's say it together. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it. And I share it. Just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. So it's wonderful having you here today. If you're online, I'll be joining you on the Zoom call in just a few minutes. Love to chat with you there. If you're here, I'd love to talk to you either outside or in the fellowship hall. Either way, probably fellowship hall. It might be a little warm outside. But however that is, it's been so great being with you. I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you and namaste.